Close your eyes and picture a bird inside a cage. Its wings are strong, yet it cannot fly freely because the bars surround it, invisible in their limitation, yet unmistakable in their hold. That cage is not made of metal, but of expectations, your own and those imposed by society, family, and circumstance. It is silent, subtle, and often unnoticed until you try to spread your wings. Yet inside, even a small flicker of awareness can begin to loosen the bars, allowing freedom to grow. This is the story of Kiran, a young man whose life had always been guided by what others expected of him. From the choice of his career to the way he spent his free time, he had carefully followed the path laid before him, believing that meeting expectations would bring approval, safety, and happiness. And yet, despite doing everything right, a quiet dissatisfaction gnawed at him. Each day felt heavy, as though he were performing on a stage he had never auditioned for, reciting lines he had not written. One evening, exhausted from trying to live up to everyone else's standards, Kiran walked to a hill overlooking his city. The lights below twinkled like stars, and the breeze carried a quiet invitation. A wise woman who lived nearby, seeing his troubled expression, said softly, "You have been living in a cage of expectations, built by the world and by your own fears. The key to freedom is not rebellion, but awareness and the courage to honor your own wings." The cage of expectations is subtle. It begins with praise for following rules, then morphs into habit. Over time, the desire to please others overrides your own voice, desires, and dreams. You may think you are safe, accepted, or loved, but in truth, your spirit feels confined, restless, and unseen. Kiran realized that in his attempts to satisfy others, he had silenced the very self that was capable of joy, creativity, and authenticity. He remembered a quote from Alan Watts: "The only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance." Kiran saw that his dance had always been dictated by others, leaving no room for improvisation, no space to explore his own rhythm. Freedom would not come from external validation. It would come from daring to honor his own path. Breaking free from the cage begins with awareness. Kiran spent the next days observing the expectations that influenced him, the subtle pressure to choose a stable career, the unspoken rules about how he should behave, and even his own fear of disappointing loved ones. Each realization was like a key, loosening the bars around his wings. Consider Leena, a woman whose family expected her to marry at a certain age, pursue a particular career, and follow traditions she did not resonate with. For years, she complied, believing this was love and duty. Yet inside, she felt hollow. One day, she chose to honor her own voice, pursuing her passion for painting. At first, the resistance was loud: criticism, judgment, and doubt. But over time, the fulfillment she felt was undeniable. By stepping outside the cage, she discovered that life could be both authentic and rich. Freedom from expectations also requires courage. The courage to disappoint, to face criticism, and to trust oneself. Kiran realized that while pleasing others might provide temporary comfort, it could never replace the joy of living authentically. He began making small choices aligned with his own values, deciding what work to focus on, whom to spend time with, and which habits to nurture. Each choice strengthened his wings, revealing the vast sky beyond the cage. The cage is not only made by others, it is reinforced by self-doubt. What if I fail? Or what if they judge me? Are whispers that chain us tighter. Kiran understood that every act of self-trust, every decision made for himself, rather than for approval, chipped away at the bars. The more he embraced his own desires and voice, the lighter, freer, and more alive he felt. A quote from Brené Brown illuminates this beautifully. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. Expectations can be cages, but self-respect and authenticity are keys. The journey to freedom is not instant. It unfolds through small, deliberate acts of honesty, choice, and courage. Kiran's friends and family initially reacted with confusion and even criticism. They could not understand why he had chosen a different path. Yet as they witnessed his growth, confidence, and happiness, their perception shifted. They saw that honoring oneself does not harm relationships. Rather, it nurtures authenticity, respect, and deeper connection. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, reflect on the cages of expectation in your life. Where have you been living to please others rather than yourself? Which decisions have been influenced more by fear of judgment than your true desires? Visualize the cage around your wings and imagine each bar loosening as you honor your own voice. Your call to action for tomorrow. Identify one choice you can make that honors your own values, even if it defies expectation. Journal your true desires and compare them to the obligations you've accepted without question. Practice affirmations. I honor my own path. I release the weight of others' expectations. I choose freedom. Picture yourself stepping out of the cage. The sky stretches endlessly before you, vast and luminous. Each breath fills you with courage, clarity, and presence. The world may still have opinions, and challenges may remain, but your wings are free, and your path is yours to create. Breathe deeply. Feel the liberation that comes from honoring your own voice. Rest gently, knowing that the cage of expectations is only as strong as your permission to live within it, and you have the power to choose freedom. Please subscribe for more motivational videos. And when you awaken tomorrow, carry this truth. You are not defined by the expectations of others. Your life is your own, your choice is your own, and your freedom begins when you trust yourself enough to step into the sky and soar.